Hello, Denise. I'm sorry.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I haven't got. You're on my list. I haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Things have been crazy as usual, but it will.
Really, no worries, none at all.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it can happen this week. It can happen next year. I'm happy anyway.
Okay, as long as it's in this Rotary year, but I promise it won't take that long.
Yeah, no worries at all. I'm really grateful. I thought to start with. So yeah.
So how are things over there? Chilly?
Cold, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I just ordered Christmas presents for my family, and I ordered a weighted blanket for my mom. And it turns out she already has one. So I decided to keep it for myself. So right now I unpacked it and I'm sitting on my couch and I'm under my weighted blanket
Awesome.
with the candles on. So I'm happy.
Well, we're good. We have a holiday between now and Christmas. We have Thanksgiving,
right? Yeah, it's Thursday, right?
Correct.
All right, good.
Where we eat ourselves stupid and lay around the couch going, oh God, I'm never going to eat this much again, and we do.
Perfect. It sounds like the best holiday ever.
Well, one year you'll have to come over in time to share a Thanksgiving. It's the best holiday here because it doesn't matter what religion you are or what your ethnicity is or anything. Mm-hmm. It's a holiday where everybody can celebrate and nobody feels excluded.
That's really nice. That sounds great.
Yeah, so it's my favorite. It's my favorite.
Perfect. Oh, really? Hi, Rainey. Nice to see you. Okay, so we're slowly getting there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of Americans are they may be traveling. Who knows what we're doing?
Well, hopefully we'll have a bit of a crowd today. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. And I'm not sure. I know Kathleen was going on a trip, but I don't know when she left. I can send her a text and see if she was going to Germany or something.
Okay.
But I don't remember when she was leaving.
All right. Well, we'll just wait for the rest.
Hi, Denise. Susie's here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep, I can.
Yeah, it took me a while. I'm on a different. I'm in my office instead of my house, so.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize your office now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have been here. That's right. So hang on. I gotta go to Dropbox and see if I'm filling in for Sam today, and I just remembered on my way into my office that I needed to do that, so I haven't downloaded anything.
Okay.
Together an agenda. Hang on. Weekly agenda.
You have the presentation?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll hopefully put it out.
Rainey, did you have slides that you wanted to share?
I don't have any slides.
Okay.
Okay, well that makes it easy. Let me see. I don't see an agenda, but hang on. Today is November. He's pretty good about it.
And Netherlands won their FIFA match, huh?
I know. I mean, I'm not proud of how they did it, but hey, they won.
Well, we tied, but I guess a tie is better than a loss.
Yep, definitely.
Poor Argentina, boy, talk about hubris taking a beating on the field.
That was a hat trick I didn't see coming.
They apparently didn't see it either.
No. I read that I think Saudi Arabia had 2 shots at goal and they just used both of them.
Yeah. That's all you get. You get 2. Okay, fine. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see. I just texted Sam to ask him if he created an agenda, and sorry, I'm running a little bit behind here, but
that's okay.
The view gallery. So who's here today? Let's see. We only have 8. Let's wait another minute or 2. It's just now 12. Hi, Roy.
I'm here.
Hey, Ricky didn't happen to work with you to get you to stop putting my emails into spam for the. I emailed you that and said, ask him why you're visiting your son.
I asked him and then he forgot.
Ah, okay. Well,
We'll try again.
yeah, maybe you and I can try again sometime. I
Actually,
need to get,
Travis may be able to do it.
okay. Yeah. All right, everyone. Let's wait a few more minutes for others to join.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave
Kathleen was
today.
going on a trip. She may be on the road already. I don't know. I don't remember when she was leaving.
Okay. Roy, you were saying something? Sorry.
Yeah, I've got to leave early today. Going
Okay.
to watch Emma ride.
Oh, is she riding? Okay, cool.
Will be, yes. Yeah.
Susie. Oops. I'm not the actual president. Come on. Trying to change my name and it's not letting me. So Rainey, you don't need rights to share slides or anything.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Fine, they're very distracting for me. So
Okay. Okie dokie. Well, we got 11. Let's give it another minute or so for others. I don't even have a bell to ring or an agenda or anything, so I'll just have to make it up as I go. That's all right. I've only done this, many, many, many times.
How's
So
Rob Hill? Did he survive the hurricane, Rob Hill?
I haven't talked to him. I don't know. So
I assume he rode it out on his boat in Vero Beach.
yeah, I would assume so. And that was probably pretty unpleasant, but maybe he went to stay with his mom or somebody. And no, his mom died. Maybe it was his dad. So I don't know.
I'm having trouble with Zoom because it wants a password and I don't know what password to give it.
So
To
what do you
update.
mean?
To update. I had to go through the browser today.
Oh,
And
I don't know.
password. Okay.
I don't know what that means. Dave.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave a little early today. I'm going to go and help support a launch that's supposed to go today, but it's raining outside right now. So it might be a trip to the Space Center and back. But
Yeah.
That is not enough an option.
right now they have two launches right now they have two launches on the schedule for this afternoon and tonight. So
Oh, wow.
we'll see if they go.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that in the newsletter, there was a picture of David and it was a close resemblance, but it wasn't me.
Rainey, I do the newsletter and there was a picture that went around a number of years ago of the statue of David, Michelangelo's David. And is Michelangelo, right? And it shows him, he's got this gorgeous physique normally, and it says after 3 years in the US and he's 60 pounds overweight, very blobby looking. So this Dave is saying that's David, but not the exact
Yeah.
oh,
It's quite funny also. So
I like it.
yeah, so I put in a page of jokes and funny cartoons and things I see, and then but lately I've been putting in birds and wildlife too, which is kind of fun to find. So
Very cool.
yeah, so and try to tie quotes and stuff out to the fact we're eco-friendly. So all right, everyone, I think we have 13. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm filling in for Sam. I forget where he said he was, but he said he was probably not going to have good internet from wherever he was going to be. So he asked me to fill in for him. So all right, let's do a ding, ding, ding. And I don't have any agenda because I forgot all about doing this. And Alana, who's AN? Is that Alana or Ayla says, if y'all are talking about me, let it be nice. So she can't hear us apparently. So she must be lip reading. Anyway, so now we would normally do the 4-way test and we always have a cheat sheet, but it is only 4 lines. And most of us have been in Rotary for 35 years or more. So I think we ought to know it. So, all right, let's go. The things we think, say, and do. Is it
the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, you guys passed the test. So, all right, that wasn't too bad. All right, do we have any announcements? Anything coming up besides Thanksgiving here in this country Thursday? Anything? Ed, are you in Colorado now?
No, I'm still in Melbourne Beach.
Okay.
We actually have a move date now. March 9th is the date that we are moving.
Okay.
We're currently remodeling, so it's dusty and it's bedroom actually.
All right.
Oh, let me tell you some stories about that, Ed.
Yeah, that's my living room with the bed and the dresser in there, and so
Yeah,
it's very
I've done that. Yeah, I used to say you should move every 5 years just to make sure you clear out all your crap. But I've been in my house since 1987. I have discovered if you do a major renovation, that effectively does the same thing because you have to clear out all your crap. So that's what I did a couple of years ago. So, all right, well, let's keep moving. Sorry, Ed.
It helps, when you have to pay to move stuff, it helps you get rid of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. So, any other announcements? Anything coming up? I don't know that there's anything Rotary related coming up for anyone. So, all right, let's move on. Sergeant Elena, are you available to be sergeant today?
Hi, I am. I absolutely am.
Actually, cool.
Perfect. So we're gonna start off with birthdays and anniversaries. Does anybody have any birthdays? Oh, Ed is waving his hand. What's up? What you got?
Well, I was looking for the wave and I couldn't find it, so I thought it would. I'm embarrassed to say it, but both my wife and I thought it was today, but our 20th anniversary is actually tomorrow.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Well, happy birthday or happy anniversary. I just noticed David Ryan from the Indiana Club has joined us. Hello, David. How are you?
David.
It's good to see you.
I am doing well, thanks. How are you doing?
Good,
Long time no
welcome.
see. Hey, Michael.
Yeah. And I'm filling in for our president today, and I don't have an agenda, but so I'm kind of winging it here. But
Well, you always do a good job shooting from the hip, so that's okay.
Shooting from the hip, it's what I do best. So, and David, what we do for collecting sergeant at arms fees is people just write a check once a quarter or whatever, and it's kind of on the honor system because I don't have someone I can call on. We can call on to run around and collect dollars. So
Gotcha.
Anyway, welcome. It's good to see you. Family's good.
Family's good. Yeah, good to be here. Bumped into Julia last week at the Rockledge Club, and she sent me the link to join you guys. So good to see some familiar faces here. George, I almost didn't recognize you with the stash there. That's yeah. Say no more, Joe.
Unmute, George.
Well,
yeah. How you doing?
I'm good, George. We've been
Good.
using Zoom here for at least 3 years now. Do you know where the mute button is?
Well, I think the stash looks great, George. And there's many men who wish they could grow a stash like that or pull it off, and you do both.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah. Hey.
It's all good.
Well, big congrats to Edge for his soon-to-be 20th wedding anniversary. Is there anybody else who has any birthdays, anniversaries?
I do actually. Do I need to raise my hand, or are we just kind of jumping in?
Oh no, go ahead and jump in.
Okay. Ironically, my wife and I have an anniversary coming up next Monday. We will be celebrating 30 years.
Way to go.
Wow, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
All right, we'll jump into any sad dollars. Does anybody have any sad dollars? I know Thanksgiving's coming up, so it's probably not the ideal time. Most people want to have them. All right, I'm not seeing anybody. All right, that must mean everybody has all the happy dollars. Oh, there's Ed.
Well, I just the shooting in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
One more shooting, and I read an article yesterday, and I think the thing is that we've got to do something about all the hate that's going on in this country, because it's not mental illness, it's not guns, it's hate, and I think that's something that we need to address. And it's got me pretty shook up. My daughter and her wife go to clubs like that, and we're moving to that area, and it's tough.
Yeah, definitely. It's tough to see it in the news consistently again. I think most of us were in Florida when the Pulse nightclub shooting happened as well, and that was the same community that was targeted at that point too. So hopefully there's not going to be the same trajectory. With that, does anybody have any other sad dollars? No, Roy's just scratching his head. Not a sad dollar.
I'm sad. I'm sad that our future president thinks WC didn't mean World Cup, but meant water closet.
Oh yeah, that's what it means in the Netherlands. You see WC, it's the toilets.
It's the same in the UK and Ireland as well. But with that, we'll jump over to
Nana, I've got a sad dollar.
Oh yeah, Finola.
Yeah, hiya. Yesterday morning, very early, there was a row, a fight outside a pub in an area that's quite deprived, but there's a lot of drugs in the area, and the police were called, or the Gardaí as we call them, and the crowd attacked the two police people. One was a woman, and they dragged her along the ground by her hair.
Oh no.
And the two policemen are police people are in hospital. So it's caused a lot of controversy and upset amongst the community about the whole country. They're outraged.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's unusual for it to happen. They were actually attacked physically and kicked and beaten and dragged by this crowd. So I don't know who they have arrested people. They're going to court today and tomorrow, and they have the people they want.
Good.
Which area was it in, Finola?
In Dublin, in Ballyfermot, which
That's
is
unfortunate.
generally considered a deprived area.
Yeah,
Poor
it is. Yeah, I know. It is. That's terrible.
But
I'm
there's also
really sad to hear that.
drug lords.
Yeah, right.
Right. With that, keeping a wee eye on the time, just to make sure there's enough time for the presentation today. I'm going to jump over to the happy dollars. Does anybody have any happy dollars for this week coming into Thanksgiving?
I've happy dollar.
Go ahead.
Who, Denise or me?
Yes, Denise, sorry.
I'm happy that the first match of the World Cup by the Netherlands was won. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
That's a good thing to be happy about. I think Mum Ailish, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I have two happy dollars. One, I'm delighted to see you. I'm delighted to see David Ryan again. David, you look great, and it's wonderful to see you. Thank you for being here. And the other happy dollar is, and I know that Michael Holliday and Alana probably won't be too happy about this, but I was glad to see Lionel Messi walking across the field with his head down below his knees yesterday. Sorry about that.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I know I'm terrible. I know, I agree. I'm sorry.
George, you've got a happy dollar?
I have a happy dollar for you, Alana. I want to congratulate you on your recent marriage. You look so married now. It's incredible. But that's to you. Yeah, that's for you.
Thank you. If I'd known about all the tax benefits in
That's
advance,
it.
I would have done it years ago. But no, I also have a wee happy dollar. I have a new job. So I was with Booz Allen for about 5 years, and now I've moved over to Khaki. So I've already plugged in the time on my calendar for Rotary. So hopefully nobody else is going to schedule any other meetings during that time. So keeping my fingers crossed on that as well. And with that, is there anybody else who has any other happy dollars?
Are you a spy?
Oh, I'm not that cool. I'm not that cool. I wish I was. Like, you know, like 12-year-old me wants to be like super cool like that, but I send emails and I schedule meetings. It's like way down in terms of the coolness scale, unfortunately. So, no.
Roy has his hand up. I've got a happy dollar.
Hey, yeah.
And my happy dollar is that you shouldn't be that happy, really. Beating Iran 6-2 isn't very good, but England won yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Very good, Roy.
We'll see.
The US
What
didn't
happens
play.
next?
All right. I think we are good with happy dollars. And with that, I will hand it back over to Susie. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Alana. Great job.
All right. Well, with that, Denise, are you ready to introduce our speaker today?
Yes, I am.
All right.
So today we have Rainey joining us. Rainey is the executive director of Healing Place and international vice president of Bikers Against Trafficking. She is an addiction and clinical trauma therapist, a biker, and survived a lifetime of being trafficked. She is a passionate advocate for freedom. And with that, I'd like to welcome Rainey and sort of give the floor to her.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys asking me to come here today and kind of allowing me to share a bit of my testimony, as well as, you know, a bit about human trafficking, some things that, I don't know, I find people they're not always aware of. My life today, I am beyond grateful. It's far different than what I could have ever imagined. I am truly blessed to have an amazing and supportive husband. I have an incredible team around me with Bikers Against Trafficking that is always there at the drop of a hat to support me and encourage me and walk alongside of me. I've been blessed with 3 amazing stepkids, 1 adopted daughter, and we're currently almost at the end of our 2nd adoption, which we're super excited about. So it's just, I have a career, I have a family, I have an education, but I never thought that I would experience any of that. Trafficking for me began at the hands of my very own father. But I didn't grow up in an impoverished area. I didn't grow up in the midst of social services. I wasn't a product of our statistics. I grew up in an upper middle class family. I come from an Italian background. My dad was active in our church. He was active in our community, and everybody that knew him thought that he was absolutely amazing. And then there was me. What they didn't always realize was that my father took me from my mother when I was but a few months old. My mom was on drugs. She was a product of sex work herself. When he came to see me, I had a crib I had a cardboard box for a playpen. I had a dresser drawer for a crib. I apologize. My allergies are not doing so well this morning down here in Florida. All this weather changes. I had spoiled milk in my bottle. I had a dirty diaper on. Life didn't start out so great. So he took me, and she just kind of let me go. She never came to see if I was okay. She didn't come to check on me. There was no like follow through on her part. As a matter of fact, less than a year later, she had a 2nd child. And she proceeded to have a few more after that. And I don't know much more except that they grew up in and out of the system, because my mom never really came back into my life. My dad, on the other hand, he took me to his parents' house, which gave him all of the access to me and meant that he really didn't have to have any responsibility for me. My grandparents were older. My grandmother was born in 1921. My grandfather was born in 1917, just to give you a little bit of age difference, right? I was born in 1980. So it's a big difference. I went into a home where I became the youngest of 13 children. So I don't fault my grandparents. They had their hands full. And they were ecstatic that my father wanted something to do with one of his 13 children by 13 different women. That they never even questioned what he was doing with me. And I never said it. By the time I was 5, my grandmother had an aneurysm. By the time I was 14, she had passed away. My grandfather continued to work because that's a lot of kids to take care of. So the fact that I wasn't a problem just made everything easier for my dad. They suspect that there was abuse long before I will ever recall. When my dad took me that night, both my arms and my leg were already dislocated, and I had to go to the hospital for it. But he abused me for the first time that I can remember when I was 3 years old. And by the time that I was 5, I was considered fully indoctrinated. He didn't sell me to what most would consider the common criminal. I was sold to high-end businessmen, doctors, lawyers, our local police, judge, firefighters. I remember walking into gym class in 7th grade and realizing that my teacher had been buying me for the past 2 years. And now he was going to be my teacher. And so people have often said, why didn't you tell? Why didn't you say something? But who do you tell? Where do you go? There isn't always a safe place. There isn't always someone willing to believe you. Our brains develop in such a way where the goal in the body is simply to survive, to protect. And if the way to do that is to remain silent, to remain obedient, then that is what we will do. And that's what I did until I was 17. At 17, I ran. It took me much longer than that to rebuild. There weren't all the services that there are today. At that time, I was considered, pardon my language, but a child whore. I was a criminal. I was not a victim. Schools didn't give you the ID that they give you now. I wasn't allowed to have a driver's license. I obviously didn't have my social or my birth certificate. Those were things that were kept, as just like most parents keep. So I had absolutely nothing. And I landed back in another situation. And it took me another few years before I finally managed to get out and find someone that was willing to listen, willing to see beneath my anger, my fear, willing to fight for me when I didn't know how to fight for myself. So today, I spend a lot of time fighting for kids just like me. because they're worth it. Because they deserve to know that somebody believes them. Through Bikers Against Trafficking, we will partner with any organization that's willing to fight for our future. And our future is our kids. Human trafficking, you know, there's a lot of statistics out there, right? So on average, and I use the term woman loosely, right? Because could be 16, could be 25. In a hotel, high-end hotel in Orlando, you're talking about $1.6 million a year off one person. For her trafficker. It's the second largest and fastest growing criminal industry in the world. In 2022, the International Labor Organization and US Department of State estimate that there are about 24.9 million victims of human trafficking worldwide. Personally, I hate the word victims, and I know hate's a strong word. But in my world, victims die. They don't come through it. We were victimized. It's something that happened to us. And we're not survivors. Because if you look it up in a thesaurus, a survivor is remnants, it's debris, it's what's left over. And we're not trash. We have survived. This is something that we went through. But we have names. While there's a high percentage of individuals that have been trafficked that are, you know, women or girls, female, there's a lot more males out there than people realize. And a lot of times they're just looked over. Services are needed all the way around, but we need to not forget that it happens to them too. They estimate that 1 in every 113 people around the world is in danger. And that about only 0.4% of cases are actually identified. The rest go undetected. Since the pandemic, things just keep going further and further, you know, out across the internet. There's always been, you know, the Craigslist type sites or the back page type things, but you know, there's so many different forms of social media, from Facebook to Instagram and Snapchat, and good Lord, I don't even know. I'd have to call my kids to ask them what all the different ones are. I have them written down. But what people don't realize is there's other sites where people who purchase these individuals go on and rate them. And so the next person that wants to buy sex can go on and say, oh, well, that would be a good one for me. And you can't shut them down because they're international, they cross borders, so they don't have the right authorities to do so. Privately, Doc and I, because we're both licensed clinicians, anybody that comes out of the life that we work with, we provide mental health, addictions treatment, trauma therapy for them and or family members to help them get back on their feet. And we will walk with them for as long as necessary, as many times as necessary, because we understand that a person doesn't just become healed from a life of trauma. It's a journey, right? Just like anything else in life, it becomes a part of who you are. It doesn't define you. But if you've served in the war, you know that those things can come back to haunt you randomly at any point in time. And this is no different. We currently have 2 houses. For those that aren't in our homes, we also work to provide food, education, clothing. We work with a lot of youth that are in the foster care system who have either been through it or are in danger of ending up in it. Because not only do we want to help those that have come out of it, but we also want to prevent people from going into it. Bikers Against Trafficking started with 2 people on a couch with a dream and me being really, really aggravated. And my husband looking at me and saying, like, stop complaining, do something. We never dreamed that it would be what it is today. We are in 16 states in the US. We have 2 chapters in Canada, I think. Working on a 3rd. I believe that we also have connections in Peru. I know we have connections in the Netherlands as well. And we're always, sorry, geographics aren't my forte. But we're always looking to stretch further, to reach further. So many times people have said, well, what can I do? I'm only one person. It only takes one person to care. It only takes one person to make a difference in the life of somebody. So if you come across something, a lot of times people will say, well, what do we look for? I bet you that all of you have either kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews. So here's what I'm going to tell you to look for. Trust your gut. If your gut's telling you something is wrong, don't second guess yourself. There's no better check. There is no day of the week where I wouldn't rather somebody call and report me if you think something's wrong in my home, if you think something's going on with my kids. Because I would rather you report me and be wrong than not report me and be right. What questions can I answer for you guys before I go further?
Ailish has a question. Go ahead.
Yes.
Ailish, you're muted. Do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
We can now, yeah.
Okay. Somebody once said to me, I'm horrified by this. I had experience of what you're talking about, not not trafficking, but certainly sexual abuse. Someone once said to me, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can change the world. And what you're doing is just extraordinary. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. David Ryan.
Rainey, that was pretty powerful to say the least.
Thank
And
you.
appreciate you sharing your story with us. Is there any, what resources are available for people to learn more about this? For those red flags. I agree that the gut is absolutely a powerful indicator, but what are some other things that might be a little more subtle that somebody can look for?
So when you're talking about physical appearance, right? Do they appear malnourished? Are you noticing signs of physical abuse, physical injuries, eye contact? Are they able to speak for themselves? Do they have ID? Does somebody else have it for them? Do their answers appear very scripted? Or like, so I carried a purse, but I could never produce anything out of that purse unless I was quote unquote working, right? Because the only thing in it were things that were sexual in nature. There was no money in it. There was no ID in it. There was absolutely nothing of value if I went into a store or if somebody needed, like, does that make sense? Like if I needed to make a purchase, it was worthless. The hours that they're keeping, if they're a minor, like, are they randomly missing school? Are they showing up with all of a sudden like new and expensive like gifts? If they're staying at a hotel, maybe you run the hotel, are you noticing a string of traffic? Random people? Are you always seeing them with different men, different women, right? Don't be blind to think that it's just one gender that does this. Branding tattoos are a big one. So different types of traffickers will use different marks or symbols. So if you see maybe a group of girls together and they all have a certain symbol on them, and it could be anything from a flower to a dollar sign to a word, but you notice that all of them have that, all of them are dressed in a certain attire, and it seems maybe inappropriate for the setting that they're in. But then the internet is a vast array of information. And for those that are interested, I can always send you guys some information. We have an upcoming training. I believe we're doing it in January, right after the holidays. And we'll have a virtual platform for that as well as an in-person platform for those in Florida. But I can send you guys the link to that if anybody's interested in attending it.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I'll put it in the newsletter. Michael?
Yes. So Rainey, one of our members today lives in the Netherlands, where prostitution is legal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that legalizing prostitution in the United States would offer more, which is regulated, of course, would offer a lot more protection to the people who are being taken advantage of here? Or are you saying it's more about children than older people who can fend for themselves a little bit?
So I think here in the US, I do not believe that legalizing it would have any effect on it whatsoever. And here's my stance on that. Guns are legal. Does it change the criminal activity behind them? Not really. As a society, we've been conditioned to think like, well, if I make a law around this, then I'll protect them. But these people aren't functioning within the parameters of the law. So they couldn't care less what your law says. They don't want you to know who they are. So they're not going to go to a legal establishment to purchase sex. And so I personally don't think that even that would rectify the issue. You know, there are places in Nevada where there is legalized prostitution, but it doesn't take away from the amount of human trafficking of both adults and children that happens right in the state of, you know, crime's still crime.
Thank you.
Heidi, you have a question?
Yes, first, thank you so much for what you do and sharing your story. I have had some contact with Zonta Club, which was kind of my first introduction to human trafficking. And since then, I've heard statistics. I'm here in Florida. We're number 3 in the United States or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you mentioned like socioeconomics as well, because a lot of people assume that this is underprivileged, this is homeless people, but there is a certain degree where this is your kid, your grandkid who is not self-aware, and these groups will put out like little kid decoys to relate to your kid. And if you have that lonely kid or that middle schooler who isn't a lonely middle schooler, right, that wants attention and whatnot, and they provide that and they get their location and they, you know, start a dialogue, they're in it, you know. It's not always like the homeless kids, the underprivileged, the drug addicted kids. So that, when I heard that statistic number 1, and I think it was mostly South Florida too, socioeconomically maybe more well off than like where I am, right? But when I heard these statistics and how these rings operate, I was horrified. I was just horrified. Yeah, it reminds me, I'm in the financial service industry, and it reminds me of the crime rings that run all the fraud. You know, they go largely undetected, right? And they rely on the covers of, you know, just not being uncovered and specializing in what they do. So thank you so much. It was very, very enlightening, and just thanks for sharing your story and making good out of it to help other people. I really commend you on that.
Yeah, it was amazingly brave of you to share your story like that.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions? You said you had more you wanted to share with us, so you want to just keep. I'm interested in how you started the bikers and what the purpose of what the bikers against trafficking do as a mission against it, besides the obvious.
What we do or what we don't do. We're a little bit of a hosh posh mess some days. No. So everybody that works with BAT is one, and BAT is kind of our unofficial acronym because Bikers Against Trafficking gets kind of long to say. But we are all 100% volunteer. Nobody gets a paycheck. We all have day jobs, which is where I'm at right now, actually. And we started literally, it was Doc and I on a couch. We had come back from a presentation about human trafficking, and I was a mess. I was furious. I was aggravated at the language. I was aggravated at our resources. You know, there was all this money being thrown at housing, and yet there were no beds. We didn't have a single, we don't have, and still to this day, there is not enough beds to equal 1 bed per county in the state of Florida. Yet we're 3rd in reported cases. So we've really decided to roll up our sleeves and do what we can to get dirty. We've worked with over 530 individuals and their families who have been trafficked. Each year at Christmas and Easter, we take on 160 to 200 kids and provide them Christmas. We've driven across the state of Florida, as well as all the way out to New Mexico, because somebody has called and said, I need help and I need it now. And we couldn't find the connection or the resource to get them safely from point A to point B. Or somebody's answer was, well, let's just put them on a bus or a plane. Okay, well, sometimes that's not the answer. And so we'll literally like jump in a car, go pick them up and drive them. If we get a call that somebody doesn't have food, clothing, housing, doctor's care, dental care, on top of providing therapy, toiletries, bedding, we consistently work with a couple of groups that do education for our youth. You know, coming out of a trafficking situation, oftentimes they're left really far behind as far as school and things like that go. And so simply going back into a public school system, it's not a viable option for them. We meet with groups all the time, trying to help train them, educate them, help them understand and see just how horrific this is. For the past couple of years, I've had the honor of working alongside the United States Marshal Service. And I pray that that's something that continues, because it's been an amazing honor to partner with them. I'm not really sure how we do it. The only thing I can say is God. Because we really are just a few people. We have a few in this chapter, a few in that chapter. None of us are like, none of our chapters are hundreds of people big, right? But somehow we always seem to make it work. We've never been about the recognition. I actually know who Zonta Club is very well, and have worked with them on many occasions. I am a huge fan and supporter of what they do. As long as somebody's willing to do it, we'll come alongside them. We don't need the glory. There is no glory in this fight. Part of our housing program that we have found that really works is we have taken retired vets and some other folks that have retired and that have some time on their hands. And if we have a youth that's, let's say, they don't have family, they're just too old to be in foster care. You know, maybe they're 18, maybe they're 19. but they've been trafficked for 6 years. So they don't have an education and they don't know how to cook an egg or do their laundry. And they need time to heal. And so we partner with, you know, that one family and that one individual, and they'll let them stay at their home and they become part of their family. And we provide for, you know, the financials for that individual. And then that family comes alongside them and, you know, they teach them how to do laundry and they teach them how to mow the lawn, and, you know, they become a family. So for that vet or that retired folk that may not have somebody, this becomes their somebody, and they get to join together. And so it's no longer a handout, it's a hand up. And we found that, you know, that one person at a time, that's how you make a difference.
So you mentioned one bed or not enough beds. Do you have like a safe house you can send some of these young people to, or do they go to individual homes and that works best?
So we have 2 homes. But that's not enough by any means. And within the state of Florida, there are other homes. One of the issues that we run into frequently is, so for example, when I came out of my situation, I wasn't strung out on drugs. But the rule of the home program, the most of the programs, right, for somebody who's come out of being trafficked is you have to go to detox and rehab first. Okay, but I wasn't strung out on drugs, so I didn't qualify for detox and rehab. So detox and rehab are telling me no. This program won't take me to heal from my trauma because I haven't gone to detox and rehab, but detox and rehab won't take me because I don't have drugs in my system.
It's like you're not broken enough.
Right. Yeah. So now I'm stuck in the middle, and what do? Nobody wants to get their hands dirty. Nobody wants to take a chance. And I know that they use this format because this is what's worked, right? But it's like, well, what about those people that keep falling through the cracks because it didn't work, because they didn't fit? There's always people that are different. There's always, you have to be willing to look at the individual and say, what's going to work for this person? And so we really try to focus on the person and not just like, okay, well, this is our program. So even with our homes, like every person that's in them is in their own specific, like they're treated individually. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ailish, you have your hand up again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me, you know, because my understanding of it is most people who are perpetrators actually get away with it. Was your dad ever charged, or any of the other people to whom he trafficked you to that you were aware of, and did you have to go to court and give evidence? Because that in itself is redoubling the trauma.
So in the case of my father, the answer is no. By the time that I finally found my strength, my voice, the statute of limitations at that point had passed. It was not something that had been lifted quite yet. Recently, I had learned that I would still have the ability to prosecute him if I so chose. But about a month later, I also learned that he is no longer alive. So As far as he's concerned, that was not something that happened. Both of the other men that were involved in my trafficking, yes, they were prosecuted and convicted. And that's horrific to go through that. I think it's important to remember that when somebody first comes out of that life, your idea of justice, your idea of freedom, your idea of safety isn't theirs. You put new sheets on your bed and it's nice and it's comfy and it's like, wow, this is awesome, right? When I saw clean sheets, I was terrified. Because the only time in my life that I ever got clean sheets, like really nice, new, clean hotel type sheets, yeah, that's exactly where I was. I was in a hotel. Otherwise, I had hand-me-downs. I mean, we weren't poor, but with 13 kids, like, you don't get a whole lot of like new sheets. They're not old, there's not holes in them, but I didn't spend a lot of time in my bed at home. I spent my nights with my dad at hotels.
Rainey,
So-
do you know, did he traffic the other children or were you the only one?
From my understanding, and I don't have any contact today with my family, but never really did have a lot of contact with my siblings. All of his other children were raised with their mothers. I was the only one that he had the access to.
Okay.
So I do believe that I may be the only one.
Wow.
Was this in Florida?
No, sir. It was upstate Pennsylvania.
Where are you now?
Florida.
Where?
Oh, I'm in Lake Mary, Florida right now.
Okay, many of us are in Brevard County. That's why I asked.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have a Space Coast chapter.
Oh, do you really? Okay.
Yes.
That's good to know. Yeah. Well, I'm in Cocoa. Michael and Ed are in Melbourne Beach. Dave Ryan is in Indialantic. And George Becker, the ones you can see, is in Palm Bay. Ailish is in Palm Bay. Jen Reed is in Claremont. And Heidi is in Brevard County also. And Kimberly's in West Virginia. Enola's in Ireland at the moment. And Alana is up in the DC area. And Denise is in the Netherlands. Yep. So we're
and Dave Andrews has a launch to deal with. So he obviously lives in Brevard County.
Yeah, he's at the space. He lives right around the corner from me near the Space Center.
I think my son is actually going there today as well.
Is he?
It's
well,
raining
Rainey,
in Melbourne Beach.
What's an extraordinary story, and the courage it takes to even share that story, it's unfathomable to me. You are one brave soul, and for come out of it the way you did. It's
and
just
I asked something.
Yeah.
So I want to know, did your dad work during the day and he trafficked you at night, or did he have another job?
No.
That was his job.
Yeah, he dealt in antiques. So he had lots of freedom.
And the other children he had, were they by different women or not just one other woman?
13
Not by
kids,
your mom.
13 women.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah, so Jen Reed is saying the firemen, Jen, I'm not following all of it.
I was reading it. It's a
yeah, my husband was a federal juror, and the guy had a phenomenal defense attorney, as I think only one photo was permissible. And it was of a girl that was, you know, kind of hard to tell her age, but the judge commended him and the other jurors because there was a lot of evidence that was not admissible. But they probably, and this guy had a huge turnout of supporters there to find out he was guilty. And hopefully, the guy had an infant daughter, so my husband is three kids. My husband now says all three beautiful little girls. So hopefully they were able to save those girls.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing to me is the inadmissible evidence that they're allowed to submit one picture, and this is happening to a child of all things. It's just so broken. The system is so broken.
It is.
Rainey, I'll put my email address in the chat, and maybe if you want to email me some of the other contact information that you have, I'll be happy to publish it in the newsletter, and I'll send you a copy of the newsletter so you can see.
And I'll put mine down here as well.
Okay. Who scheduled you? Was it Denise? Denise, did you?
Yes.
Or, yeah. Okay. Excellent. I can get it from Denise too. So,
I think
anyway,
I put it on the calendar as well.
Yeah. Oh, it is on the calendar. I didn't notice that. Okay. Great.
And there's my phone. If anybody ever comes across anything, needs anything, hears of anything, it's there. You guys are always welcome to reach out. Text is usually the best way to get a hold of me because I work a full-time job and then still have that on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like right now we're prepping for our Christmas thing. So we have 185 kids as of right now that we're doing Christmas for. We're getting them each their own, sounds really silly, but a bed and a bag, like with the twin comforter and the sheets and the pillowcases. Because when we sat down and had a conversation with them, what they said is, well, we've never had sheets that are ours. Right? So they're not asking for the newest game system or, you know, gift cards to go out to eat, or, you know what I mean? Like they're asking for
sheets
that are theirs. Because even when they go into these homes, right? So not necessarily our homes, because if they go into our homes and we give them something when they leave, that's theirs. They take it with them. But let's say that they were in like foster care. When they leave a group home, when they leave a foster care home, they don't leave with the sheets. They don't leave with the blanket. That's it. When your time is up, you're gone. And sure, there's some good foster parents out there that'll, you know, make sure you have what you, but not all of them.
And Ray, did you go to school?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did you go to school during the day?
Sometimes. I went to Epiphany Catholic School.
Oh God.
And then I went to Notre Dame High School.
Rainey, would it be helpful? You know, we're always looking for projects, and because we're scattered, we have a hard time doing a project as a group and meeting collectively. Is it something for the Christmas bed gifts you're looking for? Should we buy sheets and send them to you? Would you rather have a donation of money and then you all buy it and package it and get the kids what they need?
Whatever makes y'all most comfortable. I mean, Amazon's a great resource, so you could always go on there and order it and ship it to our office.
Okay.
Some people are more comfortable and they don't want to deal with it, so they send money. You can always donate that through the website.
Okay.
We have a PayPal or whatnot set up.
So I'll see you put your Rainey at Bikers.
Yeah.
Trafficking.org and your phone number. So
Thank
I'll
you.
publish that.
And then our website is just bikersagainsttrafficking.org. If somebody does want to order something and have it delivered.
Through Amazon, you can just send it to your office. Okay.
Yeah.
You said you're looking for, particularly for twin sheets and a twin comforter.
Yeah. So,
pillows.
yeah, like we've just been doing like the bed in a bag. It's like 25, 30 bucks.
Okay.
And it comes with the entire, like the sheet, the pillowcase, the fitted, the flat, the pillowcase, the comforter.
So you don't have to make any decision. You just say, get a blue one, get a red one, get a pink one, or whatever.
Yeah. Pretty easy.
Yeah, didn't get much easier. Okay.
Okay, so there's their office address, and if somebody sends a check, just make it out to Bikers Against Trafficking.
Okay.
We'll be happy to send donation receipts. You know, we have all of that information, so please feel free. And we're greatly appreciative for any help. So we do that for them. We're going to get them a full length like bathrobe so that they can have that comfort. Sometimes they get secondhand ones that are very short and not very nice.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And then every year we make sure to get them like a good old fashioned like Christmas stocking, like you'd have had hanging when you were growing up. I remember the one thing my grandma used to do is she would always put an apple and an orange in the toe to fill it out. And then she put a couple little goodies going up it. And so we do that for every single kid.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And you have, what'd you say, 170 or 180?
Yeah, I think we're 180. I think we're at 186 or 187 right now. I can check the list and text it out.
No, it's all right. It's just almost 200 is
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, Ayla, you had your hand up still, or?
Yeah, no. If I could add, just there is one way that we can all, on an equal basis, and collectively, particularly for those of you who are here in the US and are able to vote, is to ask the politicians who are standing for public office their stance on this issue and what they're going to do about it. And if they don't have an answer and their response is in fact to waffle about it, well then we know not to vote for them. And that's all. That's, I think, one way we can all do something in that sense.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, we're over time. Rainey, I'm sure you have other things to do.
Thank you so much, everyone.
And thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It was a bit of a kick in the teeth, but at least hearing about it, I can't imagine experiencing it firsthand. So
thank you so much. I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
And
you.
you too.
You as well.
You too.
We'll see
Thank you, Rainey. Thank
see what
you.
we can do to help the organization and the kids. Okay.
Thank you
very much. All right, everyone, let's close the meeting. Service above self. Everyone have a great
Service above
holiday.
self.
Thank you.
Bye.